Without further ado, let me introduce today's speaker. That would be me. So, there are a lot of things that people who do what I do for a living try to sell in terms of where you're going and what you need and what you want. And it takes a lot of hubris to do that, to stand up and say, I think this will benefit you, I think this is worthwhile. And I'm the first to admit that I'm standing here with a fair amount of hubris saying that. But I have a feeling that I do know what you want, and I think what you want is more. And by more, I mean more sales and more followers and more attention, more people knowing your idea, more faith in the future, more power to make things happen the way you want them to happen, more connections with other people, more, and more. Some of those things are related to business, some of those things are related to culture, but most of all, what people do for a living is they try to grow what they have. So I was thinking about that when I was thinking about a guy I know named Joel Spolsky. I'm in Joel's tribe, and by that I mean that I read Joel's blog. Joel has influenced me in the way I think about software programming, in the way I think about hiring people, in the way I think about how you build a company. So when it came time for me to buy software that would help track bugs in my startup company, there weren't any choices. Joel makes that, I bought it. And I bought it because of the relationship I have with him and because of the fact that over the years, his ideas have influenced me and have connected me with other people who share those ideas. At the other extreme is Jacqueline Novogratz. I'm in her tribe as well. Jacqueline Novogratz is almost single-handedly on a mission to change the way philanthropy works. That she has spent the last 20 years of her life in the developing world rejecting the idea that you can give people aid and magically have the world get better, but instead using know-how and capital from the West to help people help themselves to grow businesses that matter. And what's fascinating is that Jacqueline has done this with no unfair leg up, with no connections, but instead by building a tribe. And then what I want to talk to you about today fits inside that whole spectrum. And what it says is that the world has changed in a great number of ways in the way ideas spread. That those changes are affecting the way every single person grows. It used to be that the way you grew was you bought ads, as many ads as you could afford, preferably ads with babies. If you can't afford enough ads with babies, buy ads with doctors in them. But the model was that what you can do for a living is interrupt people, hopefully without poor juxtapositions, interrupt them over and over and over again until finally they bought your product, or they gave money to your cause, or they joined your organization. And a key engine of that was television. Right? TV thinking says, I'm a marketer, I have money, I can interrupt whoever I want, whenever I want, as often as I want, until I make enough money to interrupt more people. And the power of this thinking led to an explosion in mass media, particularly TV, which led to an explosion in clutter, which led to more and more and more choices, which led to all of these organizations who spend all their time interrupting as many people as they can to make money doing it by selling ads. And we all grew up with that culture. That's the way we think things are supposed to work. I'm going to grow by interrupting someone who doesn't want to hear from me and make enough money doing it to interrupt more people. That the shorthand version of it is you find exactly the right person, you assault them with an idea, and maybe, just maybe, you'll convert them into someone who is actually a customer. The timeline looks like this. So step one was Charlie the Tuna. Let's figure out something that has nothing to do with the product, put on a show, a jingle, maybe people will buy from us. Step two, let's spam people because we deserve it. It's our job, we have the right. So we will spam you by email, and spam you with robocalls, and spam you at home, and spam you at work. And we'll bother you with direct mail, and salespeople will call on you until finally you give up and buy from us. Then the internet came along, and we said, great, the idea virus, viral marketing, that's the answer. What we'll do is we'll just get people to all talk about us because we deserve it. And the sad news that I have to share with you I'm afraid, is that those days are now over. They're not ending fast enough for all the critics and skeptics to embrace, but there's no question they're ending very quickly. No brand, not one, consumer brand, built in the last 10 years has been built on the back of television. That if we look at why the dot-com companies crashed and burned, a lot of it had to do with Wall Street and venture capitalists, but a lot of it had to do with spending $80 million on ads with sock puppets in them. That the idea that you can interrupt your way to success, that's a problem, and it's not really working. So you can panic if you're in the PR business. You can panic if this is what you've built your business on. You can panic if this is how you were selling real estate. Or you can realize that there's good news. The good news is that a much more organic and predictable and scalable and genuine system is showing a resurgence. That the good news is that the other system, which was based on money, is being replaced by a different system, a system that's based on a couple questions. The first question that people ask when they hear about something, an event, a product, an organization is, who else is involved? Where did this come from? Who else is going to be there? And the second question they ask is, who is going to lead us? And that the opportunity, and the thing I'm going to come back to over and over and over again, is this. The opportunity is that there's an almost infinite number of tribes that want to be formed, that are forming, groups that people want to join. And there's a dramatic shortage of leaders. And it turns out, if you look at the people who have become leaders, who are successful at leading, the only thing they have in common is that they're leaders. And there's nothing keeping any of you from filling that void. It's not about money, it's not about where you went to school, it's not about where you were born. That in fact, there are other attributes that we're going to go into today that inform whether or not you can pull this off. So what I need to do is explain to you what I mean when I talk about tribes. And what I mean when I talk about markets and selling stuff. I'm going to start with a cartoon from my friend Hugh, which is this. We look at the economy and we say, oh my God, the stock market's down, oh my God, there's a recession. But the fact is that what people have been buying, once they buy food and shelter and healthcare, what they buy is meaning. What they buy is something that makes them feel good. The stuff that people want, as opposed to the stuff that people need, has been the search for meaning. And so when I show you this tribe, the Star Wars tribe, and you see these fully grown adults dressed up as Imperial stormtroopers, you say, what's that about? How much did they get paid to do that? They didn't get paid to do it. They did it because it made them feel good. They did it because they want to belong to a group. Because belonging to a tribe is a fundamental element of being a human being. And during our lifetimes, there have only been 3 big tribes. The reason is because TV and the mass media have drowned out our desire, our ability to join these tribes. So the first one is church, usually one church per town. That's been historic. The second one is work, the tribe we join of the people that we work with. And the third one is community, the people that we live with and near. Those 3 tribes have been constant throughout all human history. But there's billions of other tribes out there, literally billions, that people can and will join. So the shift goes from, how do I yell at people who are carefully targeted, a hunting term, how do I yell at enough people to make me some money to get me an article written to sell a house, versus how do I create these movements so that people naturally and